Greetings and welcome to our unique YouTube channel, the Ministry of the Real Truth, where we strive to bring you the real truth, the whole truth, and nothing but that truth. No hype, no fluff, no other BS fantasies. And we have in place honesty as our best policy, so we strive to abide by that. We are human, after all. We make mistakes from time to time, and if we do, you notice one, please kindly comment us and tell us about it. We'll look at it, rectify it, and then notify you, or send you a comment saying thank you very much. Last night we received some great comments from a couple of people. We really appreciate those, so here's a thank you to you for that. People who said that they enjoy our videos. We hope that all do, subscribers, viewers and new viewers that come across our channel, where we expose that so-called truth as fraudulent, that which is told us, sold us as the truth or the gospel truth, when it isn't, in the many different genres like religion, education, history, movies and music, and supposed top writers, etc, etc. Last night we came across something that blew our mind, which says, wow, that actually is here in this certain information, and it matches that information, right? And it also, because it also verifies the archaeological and scientific work of the Neanderthal man found, right? That there was a pre-Adamic man, etc, etc. They both match. So we're talking with a family member who said certain creatures, land creatures, gigantic creatures, had feathers that could fly. It's like, oh my gosh, really? And we said, we presented them this information that we found, like these series of videos, and they said, these series of videos here, and they says, oh, okay, because we said that guy's a paleontologist, but he's an evolutionist, believes in evolution theory. Oh, why should I believe a person who believes in evolution? And these people are atheists, right? We says, well, this guy studied it, and this compares with his findings, and they're like, oh yeah, but, you know, making excuses. He says, well, there's more than one guy doing it. There's a series of videos, you haven't watched it, so you don't really know, right? But it compares with the ancient, the original ancient, very old Brita of the Aramaic, or Genesis in English, what the translator Victor Alexander has translated into the nearest English equivalent, faithfully keeping to what those 800 BCE manuscripts he translated in English actually say. These were copied faithfully by scribes and monks in Ur-Hai around 800 BCE. This was the language, the writings of the language that Moses, the Old Testament prophets, etc. actually spoke and wrote in. Even Jonah, okay, and so forth, and the Galilean Aramaic of the New Testament. So we were like, wow, because we came across these videos, right? Proof that dinosaurs never existed, part 3. It's actually on YouTube. We can leave the link for you to listen to that, because the sound on here isn't that great. It's not our speakers, it's the sound for this particular video. Yeah, the rest of it end up being loud ass. So what we're going to do first is to verify our source, which is the Brita, or Genesis in English, the Brita in the Aramaic, or Genesis in English. Creation, Genesis, Brita, or creation is the real name of the book of Genesis. The word comes to us from the scribal language of the Jewish people. This is the name of the first book of the scriptures in the ancient Hebrew Aramaic language. And then Victor Alexander, a native-born Syrian, a translator, he's an Aramaic speaking translator, has his little spiel here of his translation on his former website, va.com, which is down, but we found a way to resurrect it. Okay, so that's the source, that's the history according to that translator. Okay. So, looking at this particular video, number 1 here, proof, Dinosaur Never Existed Part 3. See what this person on it has to say.
Some evolution scientists theorize that feathered dinosaurs existed in the past. In support of this belief, museums have added feathers to many common dinosaur models, such as this Velociraptor exhibited at the Museum of Victoria in Australia. Opponents of evolution and even some evolution scientists have criticized this practice, since no feathers have been found with any dinosaur fossil. In an open letter to the National Geographic Society, Dr. Stuart Olson, a Smithsonian Institute evolution scientist, has referred to the practice of adding feathers to dinosaurs as propaganda, hype, wishful thinking, melodramatic, nonsense, spurious, fantasia, and hoax. He wrote, "The idea of feathered dinosaurs and the theropod origin of birds is being actively promulgated by a cadre of zealous scientists, acting in concert with certain editors of Nature and National Geographic, who themselves have become outspoken and highly biased proselytizers of the faith. Truth and careful scientific weighing of evidence have been among the first casualties in their program, which is now fast becoming one of the grander scientific hoaxes of our age. This practice may not be the only scientific impropriety on the bird evolution evidence list. In the mid-1990s, a whole series of fossils with feathers were found in the Liaoning province of China. According to evolution scientists, the discovery of unique feathered fossils supports bird evolution. But reliability problems have emerged for these fossils. Dr. Timothy Rowe is a paleontologist who supports evolution and runs the University of Texas CAT-scan laboratory. Dr. Rowe had the unique opportunity to closely examine a Chinese fossil called Confuciusornis, which, to the naked eye, appeared to be a solitary fossil.
I believe we found this in 1997. It was just shortly after the bonanza of Liaoning and hit the news in a big way. I've never handled any discussions before. When this was brought to me, and I thought this was how it came out of the ground. What an awesome specimen. Complete and massive, easy to handle, and only by scanning it did I learn how it had been prepared.
But after scanning the fossil, Dr. Rowe began to question its authenticity.
And when I handled it, it was very well built. It felt like a single massive piece of rock. And only by looking at it in cross-section could I see that it was built in 3 layers, 2 of which were natural, and the intervening layer was made by humans. And so this really started me thinking, there's a little more here than meets the eye.
Grout and metal chips lay hidden inside the fossil, which became obvious when subjected to the scrutiny of the CAT scan. The fossil had been carefully painted to hide alterations.
But once we scanned it, we could see the grout layer. And so when we see steel objects in these things, we know that it's got to be made by humans.
Upon further evaluation, Dr. Rowe found a piece of the jaw had been substituted with a bone from another animal.
Well, I have no idea of what animal this piece came from. It's just a very small fragment of bone, and it was probably chipped out to fit this space. So I have no idea where this extraneous piece came from. There are some other odd pieces around the edges too that don't fit on this.
This first encounter with a Chinese specimen would not be Dr. Rowe's last. A second Chinese fossil was brought to him by a scientist from National Geographic magazine. This fossil, called Archaeoraptor, was purported to be an unusual missing link which would, once and for all, prove that birds evolved from dinosaurs. It had a long featherless tail, similar to dinosaurs, but it also had feathers and a bird-like body, giving the appearance of 2 different animals blended together, just as Darwin predicted. As Dr. Rowe carefully scanned the Chinese specimen and watched the cross-sectional images appear on the computer screen, he noticed something was very wrong. Dr. Rowe discovered that 26 fossil bones from 5 animals, including a dinosaur and a bird, had been fraudulently constructed to make a transitional fossil.
And that was the thing that caught our attention first. We could find no verifiable fit between the tail, the most spectacular part of the specimen. We could find no verifiable fit between that piece and any of the other parts of the body. And we found other irregularities as well. Even though it seems to fit tightly in here, when you look at it in cross-section, you can see that this piece and this piece have no verifiable association with the pieces around them. The next thing happened were the 2 shin bones was glued in. And likewise, these have no verifiable associations. And the next thing that happened is that the foot was glued on. And I say foot rather than feet, because this is a single foot. This is a slab and counter slab that was split and separated and glued in place to make it look as though there were right enough feet there. It's a clever use of materials, you know. You limit it, you take a single foot and turn it into 2, you know. Very, very creative.
This schematic diagram shows how many different fossils and rocks were used to create Archaeoraptor. Each color represents a different type of rock and a different type of animal. Dr. Rowe reported his startling discoveries to the National Geographic scientists. Yet soon afterwards, the unexpected happened. National Geographic held a press conference announcing the discovery of Archaeoraptor, failing to disclose the fossil as a fraud.
And we provided the data and our interpretation to the representatives of Geographic and the scientists in charge. He walked out of the building, his last comment to me was, well, all the Chinese things fit really. But he understood that there were profound questions surrounding this, and we then brought in consultants to scan the specimen, which we did. We presented our interpretation, original copies conveyed to all parties, and it was a total shock when the news conference came that they were announcing that this was a valid specimen.
3 months after the original CAT scan was performed, National Geographic published its story about the discovery of Archaeoraptor. The article claimed that Archaeoraptor was a flying dinosaur, a missing link, and the best evidence that birds evolved from dinosaurs, but failed to reveal the serious discrepancies found by Dr. Rowe. Those who oppose evolution suggest that if evolution scientists have to add scales to the heads of birds, add feathers to dinosaurs when neither have been found, or resort to creating fraudulent fossils as evidence for evolution, then there must be no proof. Scientists who support evolution acknowledge that individual scientists have made mistakes, but these are corrected over time. This is how science works. Many are still convinced birds evolved from dinosaurs.